Hi, my name is Matt Bernstein, and I'm here to tell you a story. It's a story about making a mark. It's a story about people you've never met, and now you'll never forget. It's about people who lived in a small town but left a global legacy, about people who said very little but dreamed big and did even more. And I stand before you today on behalf of John and Dora Boruchin. The mark they made has transformed all of us. Listen to the story, legacy, which we are all now a part of. When John was 12 years old, he heard the Zionist leader Zev JABOTINSKY speak at a rally. A young Polish Jew, he made himself a promise, and the promise was that, as he used to say to me, if you ever had a little money, he said, I'd like to give it to Israel. So when World War II broke out, fleeing the Nazis, John met the love of his life, Dora, in Kazakhstan. While John's family perished, Dora's family largely survived. They were deported to Siberia because of her brother's Zionist activities. In Russia, they reunited. John and Dora married and had a son, Isaac. After a stint in post-war Germany and the birth of their daughter, Faye, they settled in a small town in Southern California. John was a chicken farmer. He worked at the steel plant, but he saved his pennies. And as he used to tell me, so I got into the housing business, and I built one house, sold it, took the profits, built 2 houses, sold them, built 4 houses, then 8 houses. And John eventually became the largest tract home builder in Southern California. He oversaw the construction, and Dora ran the office. As Jewish National Fund's Chief Plan Giving Officer, I met with John and Dora toward the end of their lives. This was maybe about 15 years ago. When we first started chatting, they told me they wanted to take on bold initiatives to strengthen Israel. They especially wanted the next generation of children to love Israel and Zionism as they did, to have the children feel what John felt when he heard JABOTINSKY speak. They wanted the spirit of Zionism to thrive. So, they left a gift from their estate to the Jewish National Fund in an astounding amount of $220 million. JNF took $100 million of that and created the Boruchin Israel Education and Advocacy Center. So how are we all a part of this story? Well, the Boruchin's legacy is already making an impact. It funds scholarships at the Alexander Muss High School in Israel. Yeah? To ensure more young people can experience the Muss magic and become more knowledgeable and committed to Israel. It funds a JNF for democracy, for student leaders of all faiths to experience Israel, and our faculty fellowship program for teachers in the United States and Israel to build connections. And it's also funding work done by other organizations such as Jerusalem U, the David Project, and Israel on Campus Coalition. Simply put, this fund is strengthening the connection of Americans to the land and people of Israel right now. So, you'll hear more about the connection to Muss from Andrew Jacobson. He's an alumnus of the high school in Israel, which JNF acquired a few years ago. You'll hear from Jacob Boehm, and he'll tell you why this Boruchin gift is so important right now on college campuses, how it has helped provide his organization with resources to effectively combat BDS on campus. John and Dora was always humble about his accomplishments. We would see him every 5 or 6 weeks, and I was bugging him always to let us tell your story while you're alive. And he would say to me, I haven't done anything that thousands of others haven't already done. So they lived in one of the first homes they ever built, even after they had earned their millions. He did most of his business, believe it or not, with a handshake, and he was always true to his word. And this is the part that always gets me. True to his word, even to the promise he made himself as a 12-year-old in Poland. John and Dora bequeathed their estate, not just to fulfill the decades-old promises to help the people of Israel, and not just with the knowledge that the Jewish National Fund would ensure their legacy. No, their hope is that others would be inspired by their gift and do the same. They came here with nothing, but John and Dora left this earth with an extraordinarily true legacy, a mark that's going to last forever. It's an example we all emulate or can emulate, and it's a story now that we could all share. I am so honored to tell this story, and I'm so honored that I was a part of the story. But above all, I am honored that together, all of us will be a part of writing this story's next chapters for Israel, for the Jewish people, and the Jewish National Fund. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Andrew Jacobson, and I'm a sophomore at Brandeis University. Even though I never met them, I will remember the Boruchins forever. Their support of Alexander Moss High School in Israel has changed my life, and I will forever be grateful. I had many new experiences during my 4 months at Moss. I milked cows. I cried at the kotel. I went to Poland for a week with hundreds of other young Jews. Flying back to Israel, we sang Am Yisrael Chai at the top of our lungs. Each night at the campus, we'd climb up on the concrete bomb shelter to watch the sunset. If we were lucky, a delicate pink would outline the clouds, or a vulture would soar right into the sun. I fell in love with the land, the people, and the country. When I came back to America, I was inspired to give back. I interned with an Israel education organization, and with other students, we ran countless events in my high school, my synagogue, and at conferences around the country. I spread my newfound awareness to others and tried to inspire teens younger than me to do the same. Now in university, I'm an op-ed writer for my school newspaper and occasionally write about Israel. I'm a brother of AEPI, proudly, and work with other organizations like AIPAC and the Jewish National Fund. Those 4 months in the south of Israel sparked a lifelong commitment to Israel and learning about all her complexities. Without those 4 months, I wouldn't have known. I wouldn't have cared. If I could meet the Boruchins, I would thank them from the bottom of my heart. Their generosity gives people the opportunity to learn and to love Israel, to connect to the Jewish state for the rest of their lives. Israel gave so much to me, and I'm committed to giving back. It's the mark I want to make. Thank you to the Boruchins, and thank you to JNF. And thank you to all of you, more importantly, who are making your mark in Israel for a brighter future. Thank you.
Like Matt, like Andrew, and like all of you, I am so powerfully moved by the Boruchin story and by the mark that they've made already. I see the impact of their gift every single day on college campuses across this nation. I see the way that they are supporting students like these. Anthony Safir, he's a junior at Portland State University, a leader of the Jewish Student Union, which is their Hillel, and the Cultural and Historical Association for Israel. There's also Miranda Koster. Miranda is a senior at San Diego State University, where she's actively worked for students supporting Israel since her freshman year, and is now the organization's president. Seth Haynes. Seth is a junior at Marquette University, where he's a member of the Jewish Student Union, the College Democrats, the student government, and he's been recognized by JNF for his good work. And Kelsey Kimmis. Kelsey is a 2-term senator in the student government at California State University, Long Beach, and she's the vice president of 49ers for Israel. So what do all of these students have in common? They are all Grinspoon Morningstar Fellows of the Israel on Campus Coalition. We work with virtually every pro-Israel group that has a presence on American campuses. We help our pro-Israel community to get organized, to support and defend Israel and the Jewish people, and to coordinate our response to the growing wave of anti-Israel hate that is unfortunately spreading on our campuses. And now, with partners like the Jewish National Fund, with the absolutely transformative gift from the Boruchins, we can do even more to strengthen the pro-Israel movement on campus. We have professionalized every aspect of our operation so that intelligent, committed, passionate students like Anthony and Miranda and Seth and Kelsey have the resources that they need to stand with Israel on campus, to stand with Israel with confidence, to stand with Israel with pride, and of course, to stand with Israel with success. From our state-of-the-art National Operations Center in Washington, D.C., we're dispatching resources to campuses in need. We support pro-Israel students, professionals, faculty, alumni, and our coalition partners literally around the clock. We also monitor campuses across the country for anti-Israel activity in real time. And we use campaign techniques to equip our own field professionals and our coalition partner organizations with real-world political tools to engage in these battles. In addition, our use of data-driven polling, focus groups, and a whole bunch of tech tools produces the most credible and complete data on BDS and anti-Israel campus activity. We know the actors driving this hateful movement. Our opposition researchers, in fact, investigate Israel's detractors on campuses nationwide. Our regional directors map out campus influentials and build relationships with them. And our political strategists game out scenarios for potential on-campus campaigns. And it's working. On the 2,500 university campuses in the United States, only 33 of them had BDS campaigns in the past year. That's 1/3 less than the year before. In California, ground zero for anti-Israel propaganda, we halved BDS actions on the UC campuses year over year. And in the prior academic year, while Israel's detractors held more than 1,400 anti-Israel events on campuses nationwide, Israel's supporters held more than 3,800 pro-Israel events on campuses nationwide. And I want to tell you that we have achieved something else that's truly remarkable. When a crisis arises on a campus, pro-Israel campus groups, our coalition partners, now expect that Israel on Campus Coalition will take the lead in coordinating a shared strategy and in bringing some additional professional resources to the table. But we know from our own history that we can never let our guard down. We can never fail to respond vigorously. We can never fail to respond with passion each and every time. BDS proponents are always looking for new ways to smear Israel, to attack pro-Israel students, to drive a wedge between Jewish students and the Jewish state. John and Dora Boruchin knew this. Jewish National Fund knows this, that to maintain a connection to Israel requires constant vigilance. They know, you know, that Israel's strength, like the strength of the Jewish people, lies not just in our tenacity, not just in our intellect, not just in our devotion, but also in our togetherness, our shared kinship between the diaspora and Israel. The JNF Boruchin Fund is a critically important partner with the Israel on Campus Coalition and has helped us at the ICC for the first time ever fight fire with fire. Now, John and Dora Boruchin's bequest brings to life the words of the late Elie Wiesel. We must always take sides. Neutrality helps the oppressor, never the victim. Silence encourages the tormentor, never the tormented. John and Dora took sides. They committed to Israel. They committed to Jewish National Fund. John and Dora spoke up. They made their mark so that we can make ours.